Internet, welcome back to Contact, a space engineer's adventure where we're building missiles now. So I have printed off another Barracuda, and my new plan, the drones we built last time were reasonable, but I think they're a step on the path. And I think the next step is going to be something that's integrated into the Barracuda, and hopefully is something that'll be a little bit, it'll be cheaper and probably do just as well, because the last drones didn't seem to do too much fighting. So the first part of my plan is actually going to be modifying this Barracuda a little bit here, because I think I'm just going to build these off of it, though actually, I don't know if that's super smart. I'll still put this in. So one of the big keys here is that the new weapon design is going to be merge blocked, because having the drones connected with just the connector, I think, caused a lot of... well, it just made the ship less flyable. And this thing's already pretty tricky to fly because it doesn't have a lot of directional thrust. So I think having these merged on part of the grid will help in general. If I want to, I could use their thrust, though I don't think I will for other reasons that will become apparent. But yeah, for the moment, that is what we need. I think I will build them separate because it'll make it easier to I don't know. It would make it easier to produce, but I'm gonna have to duplicate it anyway. Yeah, we'll do it separate. We'll figure this out later. So another key thing with this weapon, I'm going to make it hydrogen powered. So with hydrogen tanks, and it's probably just going to have one thruster, no sort of navigational thrusters. Basically, this thing is just going to be a missile that zips around and hopefully is very hard to hit, but will distract the enemy. That's all these are designed to do. And then maybe when it's below like 10% fuel, it'll go to ramming mode. I think I may actually rearrange these a bit. Part of this is figuring out sort of how this will fit on the side of the ship. And that's too long, I think. But with the connector there going on the connector there, basically I want this to be a long tube. I want it to be fairly compact so it doesn't get in the way of the guns, and mainly just so it looks good. Alright, so before I cover this thing up, I figure I'll go over the sort of cross section. So we have a tank on board with its one thruster. It has two different offensive controllers, so I can switch between sort of evasive flying and ramming. The flight control and the sort of main offensive controller at the back here, so hopefully they survive longest. Got some event controllers to handle things, gyroscope. Hopefully 4 small batteries will power everything on here as long as it has hydrogen fuel. Most of this thing's life will be spent docked to a ship, so I shouldn't have too much of an issue of longevity, but yeah, once it's out, it's got a fairly short life anyway. It may even be too many batteries, but those batteries should also help with a little bit of extra mass at the front of this thing when it switches to ramming mode. I just stuck an antenna on here mainly so I can track these things once they're fired off. And if we go to this side, the sheathing isn't complete yet, but you can see generally what I'm going for, which is a half block gap in between the hull of the missile and the wing. That way nothing will merge that shouldn't merge. These two guys will connect on here, no issue. I did realize well, either I mirror this thing or I print another one and flip it over. Both are options here, to stick one on this side. Though I kind of like mirroring it just because this is going to be part of this ship. I think it'll just look better if it, you know, if they're both the same orientation, even though it won't really be obvious. Bad, spaceship, launch, oh boy. Okay. Good thing it came from that side. That apparently that pirate salvage carrier thought I was some salvage. Hold on, let me... While I remember, turrets on. In fact, because this is a new ship, which means those turrets are off in the blueprint. Turrets on. I don't know if I can do a copy paste, so we'll just blueprint. Delete that Barracuda. Rename this to Barracuda. Okay. Now the turrets are on and I can shoot things. Jeez. I should probably mention that I received word trade relations are going well in this sector, and so there may be some more regular traffic, which should mean for us more opportunities to acquire and or I guess be attacked by drones. I think real quick, I was setting up the missile. I'm gonna go ahead and stick some defensive guns on the station. I think we need defensive weaponry around the place, though I don't really have a good spot for it. Maybe. I've got too many ideas to do at once. Maybe I build some little deployable... I don't know if I should do satellites or make them so they actually stick onto the asteroid, but I kind of like the idea of them sticking to the asteroids. Yeah, maybe I do something like that. I may design something for that once I finish this missile. Alright. Missile should now be fully set up. I have everything turned off. I added some wingy bits that also allowed me to put a timer block in here to control some stuff. That should be ready. Now let's go ahead and grind this off. Oh crud. Okay. This time I'm more ready for you. Start firing, come on turrets. And it looks like the Stingray did its job anyway. Okay, I think that's dead. Far, and that guy is still... He's moving off, but he's still out there. Oh. Oh no, that drone. Where is it? That's part of it. Very small part. Yeah, I lost it because it's no longer got an antenna. Right. Well, the turrets worked this time, and Thankfully, from some firing angles, the Stingray can still hit things even if there's a station in the way. I assumed that was the Stingray. I think I took all the guns off of the NPC ships, so I'm pretty sure it had to be the Stingray. But I guess it could have been one of the NPCs choosing the correct target instead of me. Hopefully I don't have to go out and get rid of that guy. He seems to be moving off. Though, again, I've voiced this opinion before. That's awesome that I just got attacked. That you were completely safe existing in space up until this most recent update. And while I have a mod increasing the spawn rate of things, that is a vanilla encounter where a pirate comes and pirates you. And that is awesome. I'm so happy that's in game now. Anyway, let's build this. So I need to duplicate this. I could go through the whole process of setting it up on a projector in there. But that seems like a lot of effort. So I don't think I will. I think... Let's just real quick. Not do that. That's the one block I can't put there. I'm just gonna build a stalk off this with a little projector. Oh, it's interesting. I did notice they did change the sort of banding pattern. So now that's very clearly like a projector front. Now we've got right and left. But it used to be you'd like orient the 4 by one way and then the side that had 2 little notches. Which I guess this has the blanks for those notches, but no bar. Yeah, that's how you used to do it. I didn't realize they'd changed more of that model than just adding decals. We now have a blueprint for the starboard Barracuda missile. I named everything on it starboard just so it would be easily identifiable. That looks about right. Yep, that should be in position. Again, this is all temporary, so I'll just grind the sprue off when I need to. But yeah, that should now be printable. So if I go over here to my welding pit, should be able to just pop this in, turn those on, get one fresh missile, and I can then modify to go on the other side. Oh, assuming... Yeah. Oh yeah. Nah, well, everything should fit. Wasn't 100% sure. Now this will get a little dicey because I'm gonna have to get back in my welder with the, or back in my ship with the welders on. But the benefit of doing this is all of my setup is already done. All I have to do is all I have to do is change the name of everything, which means I have to reset it all up because the name change will break it. Also, I welded my sprue. Alright, well. I knew this wasn't going to be a super quick process. Now, because of how I've done this, the correct orientation in relation to the Barracuda is actually this. Which confused me just now as I said it. Yeah, so to fix this, I just grind out these bits. I can actually disconnect it by grinding that off. And then flip everything Dang it. And I have to grind that, and I just bumped it. It'll drift into the... Hold on. There we go. Caught. So, now... we flip that around. Stick our gyro back on it. Merge block goes off that. Connector goes here. And now we fix it all. Oh, goody. Okay, I only have to fix the stuff I ground out. Everything else did actually update. That's handy. That just means I have to remember what these things were. One of them... that one's probably turn on gyroscope. Hold on. Conveniently, I already have well, I still have the other one available. Oh! And what do you know? I'm turning the gyroscope on twice. It's actually... because of the sequence of how things are triggered, I trigger the timer block first, which basically turns everything on, including, most importantly, the batteries. But I turned the AI on in the actual launch event controller. See, so first everything turns on when the connector disconnects, then it disconnects the merge block, releasing the missile. AI turns on. So let's turn on the thruster with the AI. It's not strictly important, but it just means, you know, it may save like a tick of hydrogen. And then on this other one, set it up the same way. Okay. That should be 2 missiles set up. Annoyingly, the Tug-Tug's name has now been changed. There we go. Let's connect to this. Oh. Let's fill the hole in the side of this, and then connect to it better. There we go. And we mount the missiles to the ship. Oh, come on. There's a downside with this situation. I think... so I'm pretty sure what's happening here is the magnetism from the connector actually wants to keep them ever so slightly apart. So if I turn that off... yeah, I can push into it much better. I should... theoretically be able to lock it. Be able to work. Let's try and maybe finagle it by hand, see if that'll get it in position. Come on. Pretty sure. Yeah, there shouldn't be anything that causes issue here. Maybe it doesn't like the catwalk? No. Dang it. I was afraid of that. Catch it again here. Okay, come on, you. You know you want to merge. Yes, worst case here. I build a projector onto the Barracuda where I can line up this missile and basically just take a blueprint, weld it on. Which may be what I have to do here. Let me just try. If I turn both of those off, is it doing some weird cincy thing? Maybe I can kind of wiggle it just a little bit. No, I don't think that helped. Okay. Well, I already have a blueprint for that one, though I need to take a new one of it. So, starboard Barracuda missile. Change the name of this one so it's easier to find. And port Barracuda missile. We'll just slap this up here for now. We'll have to do one then the other, but that should be doable. This will kind of showcase how my plan is to rearm these things. Because after I get these welded on and, you know, attached properly, I'm going to make a second blueprint of the Barracuda with them attached. Then whenever I fire, they'll go away, but their blueprints will be part of the repair projector. So all I have to do is, well, enable the repair projector, and then I should be able to just print them off. Just, you know, pre-attached to the ship, which is cool. It also gives an interesting idea of where positionally we are. So that'll be the shape on there, which, yeah, they're lining up pretty well. They're a little awkwardly bulky out there on the wings, but it's kind of, it's unfortunately something that can't be helped with how everything is piped. Though, no, because I think I like the wing shape better. I could, if I flipped where the merge block and connector were, I could theoretically have it just one block off, which would bring this missile in closer to the hull, which might look better. I don't know. I think we'll go with this, and I think it'll be good enough. This will also be a pretty good test of if I fit with the with these, which I'm gonna be too wide. Crapola. Yeah, that. Dang it. I could probably weld them on, but they're going to be too wide to use? Ah! Alright. Back to the drawing board, I guess. Something to test first here. So, this small inset connector could help me out because I could make it in line with the sort of center line. I could basically make these like 1 block wide little tubes. But if 2 of these can connect on their front face, I'm not going to be able to do that because they'll merge with the wings in such a way that they'll be stuck there. So let's see. It does have a placement. Ooh! It has a placement, but it does not let me place the front of it there. Interesting. So, okay, so I should be able to then... Oh, I can have it flush with the wing. I can't have this here. Which does mean some awkwardly exposed tubey bits. I have to remove those because if I have blocks flush along here, that panel would merge to them with the merge block, meaning I can't unmerge them. Okay. Right. So we may be able to salvage some of this here. By essentially just removing the outer skin. I'll have to lose a battery, which I don't love. But should be able to do a conveyor there. Merge block there. A gyroscope. Yeah, this is going to be awkward looking no matter what I do. Okay, interesting idea. What if... That's the wrong tool. So instead of having those wings flush...
Inventory full.
Whoops. Maybe I give a gap on these wings. I don't super love it. Because it means with this guy gone, yeah, the wings just look awkward and chunky. But in order to make this work, this may be what I have to do. In fact, oh. I'm not gonna like this very much. And actually, I was gonna do that thing I was talking about flipping the merge blocking connector. The issue is that's gonna make it really tricky to pipe the missile side of things. So this is essentially the same missile, but slimmed down as much as possible.
Energy critical.
Hopefully that gives us enough room. I also need to do the other one and reset them up with the merge blocks and such. I don't know. I don't know if this will actually be enough to make any meaningful difference. We're already going to be pretty much at the maximum.
No energy.
At our maximum width here. So it's just going to be a matter of, well, squeezing and flying carefully. I should mention too, I did think about ways to essentially consolidate this even more. It wouldn't help width-wise, but I could theoretically make it so this is only 2 blocks tall. It has to be 2 blocks tall because of the hydrogen tank, which is a bit annoying considering we now have an oxygen tank that's the right size. But yeah, if I made it simpler, basically if I took out the ability for it to switch to a target when it's low on fuel for ramming, I could remove pretty much this whole top row, move these down. I'd also lose my antenna, which means I can't track them once they're launched, though that's not critical. Yeah, no, I think this'll be fine. It's gonna be a little janky, but hopefully, I don't know, hopefully it doesn't look too bad. So I can't really think of another good way to do this. Oh, okay, we're 1 block forward is the issue. I was momentarily worried. Okay, good. So we can see the only block that's buildable right now is the merge block, which means nothing else is connected to anything. That is good. So let's go over here. I don't love the length of it. I don't know. I think this is gonna be one of those situations where looks are gonna have to be a little secondary to function. But if I don't scrape my camera off, come on. I think we're wide. That's pretty much dead center. And we've still got room on the side. So we should fit. Okay. Turn on our welders. Yep, everything there gets welded. Eventually. Except for that front. Why would that be an issue? Probably because, yeah. Ah, that's why it wouldn't merge, because that was intersecting with this. It was 1 block too long. That's good to know. That's fine. Having a little hole there is interesting. So, now we go in here and replace the starboard missile with the port missile. Oh, crap. Wait a second. Okay, so a panel didn't get placed up there either. Why didn't it? Is there no panel? Nah, there should be a panel. I don't know. Hopefully that gets built somewhere in the future. Port missile. Oh no, port missile is that one. Why? Oh, and that's... Yeah, I didn't... I managed not to take into account the fact that even though when things are merged, these are both in the same block space, even though they could exist there together if it were just connector connected. Okay. Well, these aren't going to look perfect, but it'll work. Well, hopefully. Okay. Next one's in position. Hopefully it all welds. Yep, outside of the 2 light armor panels. So I don't know why that panel didn't weld, but that it should be alright. We can now get rid of this guy. Make sure, yep, nope, welders are on. Oh right, my warning lights would have told me had I remembered them. Okay. Now, yes, we fit out the door. How does it look with these things? It's not the worst. They're a little clunky looking, but they're okay. Let's name some things. So I'll have our port and starboard connectors. They're now both locked. If I unlock them, the missiles should fire, which won't do too much because there are no enemies about. I can go in here. So I can change them to target enemies and neutrals. I think I'll leave them just for enemies for now. Got some options here. I could go after that private sail, though it is pretty far away. Or I wait for something else to show up, and maybe I do that. Let's have a little flight test. Seems to be good. Am I cooking things? As we slowly slow down here. No. Looks like those panels are outside of the thruster damage range. So yeah, so things seem good. I should dock up because those missiles don't have fuel either. I was maybe getting a little ahead of myself thinking about going after an enemy ship. And I should probably grind down the, not fake missiles, but the stand-in design model missiles. So the tanks are on stockpile. They are now filling. That's good. Dang it. So a new thing has appeared, but it's another one of those observers. Already observed enough of them. Do I want a private sail? I don't know. I assume it's changed a bit from the old private sail, but I don't know. I guess if nothing else, my missiles should be armed and ready now. So I could go check it out, assuming I can catch it. Let's go see. If nothing else, it'll kill some time. Okay. Well, I missed the private sail. don't know, I may have been flying at where part of the cell was for a moment because I was texting and flying. Do not do that. So, okay, there's a drone. I don't know, is there an unknown signal about? Is it an unidentified signal? Not seeing an unknown one, though. I did paint a little bit. Figured to give a little more contrast to the wings. And actually, now that they aren't just solid white blocks, I think they feel better. I don't know, there's something clipping through at a distance that's awkward. But yeah, I think they work pretty well, these things. At least looks-wise on this ship. Oh, which, speaking of, I can do this while I cruise. Nope, not that one. I'm gonna rename this one No Missiles. Then rename this one Barracuda with Missiles. Then hop back in so I don't crash into anything. So now I can print off either a normal Barracuda or one of these Barracudas that's set up with the missile defense. Oh. Okay. Got a new thing in. It is yet another military escort. Now these are becoming the standard targets. Let's see. Have our guns target weapon? No. Have our guns target power systems, which is what they were targeting. For missile defense. The plan here, I believe, is get in, fire the drones off, hope that they distract the military escort while I try and pick off its turrets with my railgun, and hopefully defend myself from missiles with my Gatlings. Who knows how this'll go. Switch to missile control. Vector to keep on target. I'll launch the missiles at 5 kilometers. Now they should just keep cruising forward until they pick up the target. Alright, here we go. Go missiles, go. And then I should look at things. Okay, the missiles are cruising. They don't seem to be doing anything yet. Okay, it's missile defense designator just popped into range. Yep, remain at a distance. Missiles are out, but they look like they're going after the drones. It's not quite what I wanted, but it may give me the time I need. Oh no, there's missiles coming after me now. Okay. Oh boy. Yep. Ah, missed. And I am taking fire. Oh goodness. Okay, well that didn't really work out. Let's see if we can get my body before I'm gunned down. Maybe. Come here, body. Out. Oh, God. Nope. Well, hey, my missiles are still out there. Its missiles are also still out there. But that's pretty good. In fact, it almost seems like the missiles are distracting the enemy. Ow! Just as I was approaching the body again. How many bodies am I... Ah! How many bodies am I gonna have? Okay, my missiles may not actually be doing much. In fact, yeah, no. I don't think I'm gonna be able to get this back. Okay. Where am I? Where are things? So the Barracuda has lost its antenna. I don't think I'm going to be able to get my backpack back. And this guy is definitely keyed in on me. Is that a Barracuda? Or is that metal floating in space? Oh. Uh-oh. That's part of the Barracuda. See if I can reclaim the okay. The little bit of ammo. Maybe I can use it as a shield against the missiles? Nope. Well, let's go look at one of our missiles. Okay, yeah, the Barracuda's gone. Let's just... We'll use our long-range sensors to look at our, where are they? Look at our missiles. Oh, they're probably... Okay, that's part of that. Okay, that's a missile. Oh, that's a dead drone from earlier. That missile's still doing things. Yeah, it's still got hydrogen. It's dancing with one of their missiles. All right. Actually, we're in spectator. That's... It was awkward because it's drifting. Doesn't look like it's damaged, but it also doesn't seem to care about the enemy. I'm not sure quite why that is. Okay. Well... how do I... There we go. Well, that was not a particularly amazing maneuver. I'm beginning to think the whole missile program I'm running may not actually be incredibly valuable. I mean, I think they could have some uses for sure. Truth be told, I think the biggest issue here is that these guys launch their missiles. I don't know what exactly took me out. If it was the, I hit by a missile or just gunfire, because I got way too close. I'll be honest, part of it was my controls seemed a little janky. I think it may have just been, I don't know, I may have been like the camera was messed up and so my movement controls were off. But, yeah, didn't go incredibly well. I think we'll leave the missiles there. I think that's that. Maybe next time, as I expertly transition to my outro, yeah, maybe next time, I don't know, are we ready to go after... I kind of want to get one more ship. If I have one more large grid ship, I think then we will try and go after the Prototech folks. We'll have a whole bunch of Barracuda with their missiles ready so that I can distract the enemy a little bit. The big ships will be distracting the enemy and doing damage. Hopefully, with that whole armada, it'll buy me enough time to get into a Prototech base, or a Factorum base, and, well, get the Prototech. But all that will come in the future. For now, thank you everybody so much for watching. Feel free to check out the other stuff I've done, and until next week, bye-bye.